I'm Michael Abramowitz, the president of Freedom House. Thank you to the Taiwan-Asia Education Foundation for inviting me to participate in this year's Yushan Forum. I'm honored to be included on this panel, and I'm very sorry that I'm not with you in person. For more than 80 years, Freedom House has been working with civil society organizations, journalists, and human rights activists around the world, pushing governments to enact pro-democracy policies and protect human rights, and raising the alarm about emerging threats to freedom. We are thrilled to have recently established the Freedom House Asia Regional Office in Taipei, which will enable us to expand our work and deepen our partnership with human rights and democracy supporters across Asia. The Yushan Forum is exactly the kind of forum where we should be discussing these issues. Asia is home to some of the world's most vibrant democracies, as well as the site of worrisome democratic decline in recent years. I'd like to start by setting the scene for democracy on a global scale. The world has experienced 16 consecutive years of democratic decline and rising authoritarianism. Encouraged by the complacency and failures of even the strongest democracies, dictators around the world have been progressively chipping away at democratic institutions and working to undermine people's fundamental freedoms. Freedom House found that in 2021, only 25 countries experienced improvements in civil liberties and political rights. More than twice that number, 60, suffered declines, including democratic countries, including my own country, the United States. Today, less than 20% of the world's population live in what we consider a free country. In recent years, several Asian democracies have seen their institutions undermined by populism and authoritarian politics. Illiberal leaders have used the national security pretext to crack down on journalists, criminalize free speech, target NGOs, and suppress political opposition. In many countries, authorities have scapegoated ethnic, religious, and social minorities as part of these campaigns. Freedom House has identified these patterns as playing out in Cambodia, the Philippines, Malaysia, India, Singapore, and Indonesia. While the regional authoritarian trend is driven by political elites in several countries, I'd be remiss not to acknowledge the major challenge that Beijing poses to democracy in the region. The Chinese Communist Party compounds anti-democratic trends by exporting its surveillance technologies, training autocratic officials in other countries, working to influence media narratives, running a sophisticated campaign to pressure and control Chinese people living overseas, and generally providing a model for repression. These practices are intertwined with China's Belt and Road Initiative, a multifaceted foreign policy initiative that has enlarged CCP influence in the Indo-Pacific and beyond. In the face of these challenges, Taiwan stands out as an example of a strong democracy, transitioning from a repressive single-party state to a robust multi-party democracy over the course of 4 decades. I applaud the Taiwanese people for building such a vibrant and competitive democratic system, one that has established 3 peaceful transfers of power since the year 2000. As the American people were unfortunately reminded on January 6th, the peaceful transfer of power between political competitors is a non-negotiable pillar of democracy. Taiwan is also a leader in combating digital authoritarianism and disinformation campaigns online, and hosts one of the freest online settings in all of Asia. Free expression thrives in Taiwan, protected by an independent judiciary, and the country has done a truly remarkable job countering the impact of Chinese disinformation campaigns. Of course, Taiwan is not alone. We also salute countries like South Korea and Japan as democratic success stories for the Indo-Pacific region. This year's Yushan Forum is taking place at a historic moment for democracy not just in Asia, but around the world. The Kremlin's war of conquest in Ukraine has been a wake-up call to all of us who live in democracies about the fragility of our international order and the vital need for partnership in defending our rights and freedoms from authoritarian aggression. All Asian countries have a crucial role to play in pushing back against authoritarianism. We are currently in the year of action following President Biden's first Summit for Democracy, and Taiwan has made notable contributions with regard to open government partnership, hosting an East Asia Democracy Forum, and the Assembly of the World Movement of Democracy here in Taipei, combating corruption and supporting regional civil society. There is no silver bullet for securing democracy, but I'd like to leave you with some of the approaches that I think can have the most impact. First, we must strengthen democracy in each of our respective countries. This means bolstering our own democratic institutions, especially free and fair elections, ensuring the freedom of the press, and protecting the human and civil rights of the entire populations. We cannot possibly protect democracy globally if we cannot maintain it at home. Second, we must make our societies more resilient. Solidarity among regional democracies can help sustain the civic spaces that activists need to operate and elevate the voices of the oppressed. The Yushan Forum plays an important role in this regard by strengthening links between civil society actors in the region and providing a space for free and candid exchange. Finally, I think that one of the most important things that democratic governments and civil society organizations can do is to provide more material and diplomatic support to pro-democracy activists and human rights defenders around the world. I've been heartened in recent years by the extraordinary demand for democracy demonstrated by ordinary citizens. In Hong Kong, millions of people flooded the streets to protest the erosion of their civil liberties. In Thailand, youth activists defied a repressive government to call for democratic reforms. In Myanmar, people continue to fight and lose their lives, candidly, on behalf of their fundamental rights that are being denied by a brutal junta. And in Sri Lanka, widespread popular protests led to the resignation of the president and prime minister. I stand in awe of the persistent willingness of ordinary citizens to risk their lives and livelihoods to protest oppressive regimes. And that tells me that the demand for freedom is only getting stronger. But we must be honest that for now, dictators and authoritarians have the wind at their backs. Democracy is under threat everywhere. It is very serious and it's scary, but nothing is inevitable. Indeed, Freedom House's latest report found that even as Beijing's efforts to influence media narratives around the world are accelerating, democratic pushback and resilience are blunting and even reversing the impact in many countries. All of us will help decide the fate of democracy. I look forward to working with all of you on reversing the trend of global democratic decline and building a world in which all peoples are free. Thank you.